Thanks to LL Bean for presenting today's storybook with limited commercial interruption.
How's your morning?
All my life, changing every day, in every possible way. In every possible way.
Turkeys are like children, you know. Get them outside, playing in the dirt. You know, it's healthy for them. You know, they're out eating the grass and, sunning themselves. Being somebody that graduated from an agricultural school, the first thing is always animal welfare, animal health. Like, do no harm, Never, ever abuse an animal. These are a heritage breed. They were developed in East Kingston, New Hampshire. These are New England birds by Bruce and Judy Levis from Maple Vale Turkey Farm. So these are Maple Vales, and these are a medium strain. The large strain turkeys are growing so fast that they're young. You process them off at 120 days. And they may be growing, but their internal organs are still very immature. So we decided to go with a more old-fashioned bird, a medium strain, these. And yeah, it takes us 6 months to get them up to size and all that stuff, but we go through the same amount of feed and the birds are just healthier. We keep them in the barn till they're feathered out and they're about 6 weeks old. Then we start slowly letting them outside. The confined animals, they do it with beef cattle and pigs and everything. And there is a lot of stress going on in those animals. And with this stress, there's usually disease. The fresh air is the biggest thing, and it's a lot of room for them to run around on. I bring in a couple loads of sandy gravel for those birds to play in, take their little sand baths in the summertime. This time of year, it's up high, the sand warms up, and at nighttime, you'll see them all laying on top of the sand pile, but it's a natural thing for them to do. We want them to stay as natural in their behavior as possible and keep them comfortable. I was diagnosed with cancer back in 2013-14. After, I went through all my chemo treatments. I mean, they put stuff into me, chemo drugs. I don't want any more chemicals in my body. My turkeys and my beef, we don't give them anything. There's no chemicals. I don't want the chemicals. If you buy a whole turkey, there shouldn't be an ingredients clause on it telling you, come on. I wouldn't sell anybody anything that I wouldn't eat, My beef, people have asked me if I vaccinate them and I give them, deworming medication and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I've never seen any worms in them. I guess if they got sick, I'd give them some, but I don't do it on a regular basis just because it's the thing to do. If we see a sign of something going, getting sick, sure, we're going to take care of it. That's part of animal husbandry, but also part of being a registered nurse. You take care of sick stuff. I don't know how these big companies can actually sleep at night. They can only see, I think they inspect 1 out of every 100 chickens or something. It's crazy. They're not worried about how the chickens are doing or what's going on. They only care about the bottom line. I just tell people, know your farmer. Go visit the farm. Take a look at the farm so you can see. I mean, you're going to be putting this stuff in your mouth. Would you buy a turkey from them? You're going to feed it to your family, I'm not a very good businessman. Let me say that. My accountant keeps, I'm going to give him a stroke. But our feed went up $150 a ton. A ton. We go through, we just had 4 tons delivered this morning. We get it every week, okay? We have it milled right over here in Detroit at Feed Commodities. It was milled last night and it's delivered today. We had to increase our price on our turkeys, you know? And it's like, oh, it's awful. It was like 38 cents a pound we had to go up on our turkeys. I didn't. I went up 20 cents. There's a store down on the coast, Rising Tide. I don't sell to a lot. I just sell to about 10 stores. And I know these people. I can go and have a coffee with them. Called them up and I said, look, we're getting 20 cents out of this and you're getting 20 cents that we're passing on. And we'll see what next year brings. I don't know if the feed costs will come down, but I want to maintain our customers. You know what they said to me? They said, that's it. And I just thought 38 cents was too much for a consumer to absorb.
What I like about Scott's turkeys is they come clean in the packaging. We know they're all natural. We trust Scott. Customers say that the flavor is better, and it is better. They're pretty spoiled in their taste now, and Scott is requested every year they ask for.
COVID increased my business probably by 25%. We've had a lot of people that moved into the state of Maine from what we call them people from away or flatlanders. I am a flatlander transplant, but I can make fun of people now. They come up and, you know, they want fresh turkey, and we had people calling us from all over the state.
Our customers at Rising Tide are always asking us how are these birds processed. How they are treated is of prime importance. And Scott, that's one of the reasons we go with Scott. It's a very humane process. And also the way he processes his birds, there's no chemicals. He does it, he probably told you he does it like an ice bath, and the birds come out great.
We process approximately 1,500 of our own range-fed turkeys. My 2 sons, 18 and 23, one runs the kill area, and my youngest runs the out front area, the packing area, and the office, and handling the money and stuff. The inspector came up from the Department of Agriculture here in the state of Maine. She was so cute. She goes, oh my God, there's no smell here. And I'm like, right? You know, smell means bacteria. And she was looking around and she was just commenting, you know, that the slaughterhouse was really nice and all that stuff. And it's my son. My son, there's one person that washes and sanitizes. It's him, because anything goes wrong, it goes back onto him. But he's been doing it for years. That's his thing. But it's all about my crew that I have over there. They take pride. I will tell you, Thanksgiving is our favorite holiday of the year. Even Christmas. We do sit around the table as a family and we talk about, oh, remember this happened or that happened. We got through this, and you know, this customer came up, and we're thankful for getting through a good season and stuff like that. And it's just Thanksgiving, it's just cool, you know, besides all the good food, you know, and it's like, I mean, I didn't get this way from eating salad, you know, like, you know, we eat good food here, you know. We have one family that has been coming here for years, Mr. La Liberty. He looked like Santa Claus. My kids grew up thinking that was Santa Claus's brother. He always came on a Sunday. He'd bring his grandsons and everything. Mr. La Liberty has passed, but his grandson, he's in the Air Force and he's big, tall. He comes here at Thanksgiving time. And he brings up his grandmother's turkeys, and we process the turkeys. He puts on an apron, he goes in and he's sweeping the feathers in the background. He said, it wouldn't be Thanksgiving unless I was sweeping some feathers.
I was a child that grew up with food insecurities, and I know how important it is. It's the root of all the issues that children face.
Here at Portland Public Schools, we have a wonderful opportunity to work with Native Maine. We like to focus on those local foods that we can offer to the students, proteins as well as the fresh fruit and vegetables. Encouraging your students to participate in school lunch helps us to reduce that stigma, and for those kids that really do need those meals.
Hi, and welcome back to Plate the State. We are down in Kennebunk at the Hancock Lumber Kitchen Design Showroom, and we are so grateful that we get to film here. And speaking of gratitude, we are entering the holiday season, and first up is Thanksgiving. And because Thanksgiving takes a really long time to prepare. We are splitting this into 2 full episodes. Next week, we'll be focusing on side dishes, desserts, and appetizers. And today is about all things turkey. So let's go have Chef show us what to do with that bird.
Hey.
So the most important question I need answered, is it true that we have to wake up at 4 a.m. to get this thing in the oven?
I'm gonna say no, we don't. I'm gonna show you a cool trick on how to cook this turkey a little bit faster, but way more flavorful.
Goodness.
Sound good?
Yes.
So what we have here is, you can see our turkey, right? It has been brined, okay? And so we have this bucket here of brine. I brined it probably last night around 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna show you how to make this brine ingredients. Those are all the aromatics. There's peppercorns in there, fennel seed, coriander, orange peel. I have some fresh thyme.
It's like holiday potpourri.
Right? Thanksgiving potpourri. Okay, that goes in the pot. And we have some of Phil's summer honey.
Oh.
Right? That's gonna go in
Mixing
there.
the seasons.
I'm gonna add some salt in there, okay? We wanna add some water into here, just enough to dissolve the salt and infuse all those flavors. Let them get to know each other, right? That's what we really want. Then we're gonna take that, we're gonna put it into a bucket, and then fill it with about 4 gallons, enough to cover your turkey with cold water, and then half of that amount with ice, just to keep everything nice and cold. But the best part about cooking Thanksgiving in New England is normally it's cool outside. So once you have this in the bucket with brine, you can kind of leave it out there overnight. Now, Maggie, unless you want to truss it, I'm gonna show you how to truss it.
I'm hands off on this.
Okay, I'm gonna show you how. You want about a couple arms length of butcher's twine, and I've done this a few times, so it's gonna be pretty quick. But if you want to view our website, I'll do a much more slower step-by-step so you can really see. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put the butcher's twine in the middle, underneath the bird, even up my strings, cross in the front. I wanna pull the wings in tight, over the top of the bird and under the crown, cross it, then underneath the legs and around the drumsticks. And then when you pull it tight, as you can see, those legs come right out. So once you pull it tight, we're gonna flip it over, give it a couple ties. You wanna snip that off for me? Perfect. I think we have the turkey pot over
Yes.
there, right? If you wanna grab that, perfect. Take that off. So as you can see in here, I already have some mirepoix, which is just carrots, celery, onions. I have some aromatics like some thyme, some bay leaf, some rosemary, all right? We're gonna take our bird and we're gonna plop him right in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Even though we brined it, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, not too much, just on the skin. Just give me a couple cracks of pepper in there. Now for this bird, it's probably gonna cook for around 2.5 to 3 hours, okay? We're gonna cover it first for about the first hour and a half. You can just use foil if you don't have a pan similar to this. I have their oven set to about 325 degrees. About an hour and a half first, and then we're gonna remove it for the second hour and a half, and that's gonna really make sure we get that nice golden brown turkey skin on there.
All right, we're gonna get this in the oven and we'll see you in a few.
I think people would be most surprised by our great selection of not only fresh fish, but local products. We wanted to have a good mix of things that you don't see everywhere and things that you can't get that are both world-renowned as gourmet items and things that really make Maine special.
My goal throughout my career has been to remove intimidation because it's wine. It's supposed to be fun.
Everyone here has a specialty and they can make it really approachable.
Hi, and welcome to today's chef tip. Another fun fact about me is that I love cranberry sauce that comes in a can, but Josh reminds me that I am not 6 years old. So he helped me figure out a way that I can still use that, but elevate it a little bit. So what we're going to do is take some onion, parsley, garlic, and orange peel, just sweat it down a little bit, let those flavors kind of dance together. Take that out, add in a little bit of crystallized ginger, pour it over some golden tomatoes and let that cool down a little bit. And then you're going to take your favorite brand of canned cranberry sauce. Then you're just gonna mash it up, get all those ingredients together. All right, so now we have all these incredible colors mixed together in these flavors. You can get it in this beautiful dish for display, and you might be able to trick some of the people in your life who definitely prefer food out of a can. And there we go. And for all of our chef tips, you can go on platethestate.com.
We're getting there to sunnier days, being with the ones we love, and now with those you've missed. This is you remastering the art of life. And while you're getting back at it, we'll be here to help you master the art of money. Norway Savings. Live your life in color.
This week's pantry tip is brought to you by Norway Savings Bank.
Welcome to today's pantry tip. So your turkey's in the oven, but you still need to make the turkey pan sauce, but how can you do that without the turkey juices? The dilemma, right? So this is the trick. Think of all the things that you've been prepping for your Thanksgiving dinner, the onion peels, the herb stems, all of that. I like to put it in one pot, right? And as you can tell, you can see all of these here, right? Anytime I have herb stems throughout the day as I'm cooking, or more maybe garlic peels or shallot peelings, I'll just add them all into this pot as it's going on the back burner slowly as I'm cooking the rest of the meal. And throughout the day, just look at this wonderful, very herbaceous onion broth that has such a umami kind of sense of flavor. And when I need to make some sauce for the stuffing, for instance, I can use this stock, and it's going to be vegetarian, but also super rich and really, really fragrant. And then when we get the turkey out, we're going to be able to use all those pan drippings that are in the bottom of the pan. We're going to add some of this onion stock to it, and that's what's going to make our gravy or turkey pan sauce. So keep one of these pots going all the time in the back. Put all your trimmings of vegetables and herb stems in there and let that slowly cook all day. And that is one of the best pantry tips, especially for Thanksgiving, that I can think of. But for this tip and all of our pantry tips, follow along at platethestate.com and we'll have them all there for you. Thanks so much. I've been coming here for about 10 years. The best part of Harbor Fish is you smell the seafood, you hear the ice in the background. I love the fact that they're always ready to just make you the #1 priority.
My personal preference this evening would probably be the swordfish is what I would focus on.
They can walk me through exactly what I'm looking for what recipe. When I was a chef, I could always trust that this is the best quality seafood for my guests, but I love the fact that this is where I shop for my fish for home too. It was the best part of both worlds. I come in here, I see chef friends, I see family friends, but I can trust that not only will the fishmongers here and the cutters and everybody working the counter will help me make the right choices and help me cook this fish the best way it can be.
And welcome back to this Plate the State Thanksgiving episode. It is the first of 2. We'll be back next week with the second half. So now that we have our turkey prepped, wrapped in knots and things and in the oven, now it's time for stuffing.
Now it's time for stuffing. But this stuffing is going to be a little bit different. I'm using 2 different type of breads. So this is a Rosemont honey spelt sourdough, and then this is their 100% rye. I cut this bread up and then I toasted it off. Or you could just leave it out overnight. The rye, you're probably gonna have to leave out for a while to get it dry, so I would suggest putting that in the oven. But as you can tell, it's nice and dried out. We got that nice little crispy crust on it. The reason why we do that is because once we add the butter and the stock into it, it's gonna really absorb, and that's what makes that really nice stuffing. And because we're making this for Maggie as well, this is all gonna be vegetarian and it's gonna be delicious. So the first thing we have to do is we have to have some onions and celery, and I have some herbs, okay? So let's go over to the stove and I'll show you what we do next.
Okay, perfect.
So I have about a stick of butter melting right here. I have the celery and the onions. We're gonna add that in. As Maggie would say, stir this until the vegetables get to know each other. We just wanna sweat the vegetables down, let the onions release that sugar, let the water come out of the celery, okay? It's gonna infuse with that butter. Now that the vegetables are about halfway tender, this is when I like to add my salt and pepper to it. Okay, so right now I have some thyme, I have some oregano, I have some parsley, and I have some celery leaf. And I'm gonna add all that into here. Let's grab the toasted bread that we did, and you go ahead and pop that right in there. Perfect. So we toasted that bread, and now look, it's absorbing all of that residual butter, the moisture from the onions.
So good.
Right? So we want to turn this on low heat now. Now we're going to take some of that onion herb broth that we made. Okay. We got our little reverse strainer here. Why don't you start adding a couple ladles of that into there? Perfect. All over the bread. Now if you guys can see this, that bread now, it's going to be soaking up all of this rich herb and onion stock. You just want the bread to slowly simmer. So I'm going to take this, just kind of smooth it out on the top, and pop this right in the oven. I don't want to cover it. I just want it because I want a little bit of a crust on top. So I have the oven set at 350. All right, perfect. Look at that, that bread's really starting to absorb up. You could put this into a simple casserole dish if you'd like. I just want to set this aside for about 10 minutes. Let it kind of rest for a second. We're hopping into pan sauce. We have all of this great natural juice that came out of the turkey. We have the mirepoix that we put in there, and the herbs and the fat that rendered off the skin. So that's all in our pot right now. So we're going to turn the heat on. We're going to slowly bring this up to a simmer. I have some dried thyme and a little bit of dried sage. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in there. I can just crunch some of that sage right up. So I like to thicken this up with a little bit of Wondra flour. I think it's a little bit finer of a flour. I don't need as much. And it also adds a great thickening agent because it has a little bit of like that, almost like gelatin into it. So we're going to go back to our trusty herb stock and onion broth that we made. I'm going to ladle some of that in there right now. So not only do we have the incredible turkey flavor, but now we're getting this rich onion herb stock broth in there. Now, as you're cooking this in the pan, you want to just scrape down and get all that, it's called fond. And that's the stuff that we really want to keep. And we just want to simmer this for about 15 minutes. This has thickened up wonderfully. Not too thick, just viscous enough. Now what I'm going to do is I have our strainer. I'm going to spoon out those vegetables, and I'm going to start straining all of this pan sauce through here. So I really want to get enough of that out, okay? I'm going to set it here, let that strain out. We might even get some more out of that. Look at the color on that. Okay. Oh, this pan sauce is perfect. Now let's get to that turkey. We'll carve it up and we'll pour it on. Look at this turkey. It's perfect, crispy skin all the way through. Remember, that's why we trust it that way. And it's rested for about 15 minutes now. So I'm gonna cut the strings off, and then we're gonna carve it up. So I like to carve my turkey and have it onto the table already in slices and in portions. And this is where you gotta, like, don't be afraid of the turkey, okay? Don't be afraid. Slicing up this delicious turkey breast meat. Okay. Now we have that turkey on there. We're gonna take our pan sauce that we made and just glaze over all that meat. Okay, here's our carved up turkey, that great pan sauce that's on it. Delicious.
So drinking during Thanksgiving, it can be a little intimidating. No one's ever quite sure what to pair with the 14 dishes that you have made, but we have a few great choices. Josh, what did you pick for this?
Well, for turkey, I love the Cushnock Brewing Company, which is Augusta's first brewery, and I picked their gigantic dad pants, not only punning, that we all have to unbuckle, the belt buckle for Thanksgiving, but it's so juicy. It's got some really great smooth finish, even though it's got a bold flavor to it, and the richness of the turkey pan sauce and everything, it matches. I think it's just like
I love it.
match.
I love
Perfect
it.
match.
And as far as wine, Kat from Sopo Wine always likes having a white and a red on her holiday table, and I totally agree with her. This dry Riesling, it's a French winemaker upstate New York, and they're really good at getting the fruits of the Riesling without making it super sweet. So that's gonna pretty much carry you through the entire meal from apps to finish. Now you don't want a red that's gonna be really heavy with all of the big food that you have. So this is a beautiful red that has a lot of the earth and spice and flavor without the big full-bodied texture. Both of these choices are distributed through Sopo Wine Co, and they're available at independent wine stores all throughout the state.
And make sure you save a few sips, because remember how we saved the carcass from that turkey? I'm going to show you what we did with it, and you're going to definitely need a couple sips of wine.
At Town & Country Federal Credit Union, our mobile app lets you do almost anything from anywhere. Deposit checks, pay bills, move money, and much more. And if you need us, we're always here to help. Learn more at tcfcu.com.
Today's leftover ideas are brought to you by Town & Country Federal Credit Union, helping you stretch your food dollars.
And welcome to today's leftover ideas, where Chef is going to show us what to do with the turkey, bits and pieces and everything that's left over after the feast.
Perfect. So when we had that carcass, remember? So I put it in, we made our real turkey stock now that we have the bird to do it. So there's vegetables in there, there's celery, onions, carrots, all the turkey, okay? And what you want to do is strain out all the broth. You're going to be able to pick all of this delicious turkey right off the bone where there's a ton of flavor in it. And we made this wonderful kind of turkey noodle soup. This is such a intense, savory, rich soup.
And that beautiful squash too.
Right? And then some cracked pepper.
Oh, that's going to be perfect for those long winter nights ahead.
Right? This episode was all about turkey. Next week, it's about desserts, side dishes, and appetizers.
It's going to be great. You're going to get an entire Thanksgiving feast between these two episodes. Thanks to all of you for watching, and thank you to Hancock Lumber for letting us shoot in their beautiful design kitchen down in Kennebunk. And from our entire team here at Plate the State, we wish you a beautiful Thanksgiving, and cheers to wherever your appetite takes you.
Hello, sunshine, won't you come in? It's been so long since I've seen that smile. Oh, and I'd be grateful if you would walk.
So let's say, because I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, there's not stuffing in the turkey, and that's what I've always done. So maybe just address that. I'll ask you.
Who does that? Okay.
Yeah, so many people do that. It's one.
And all you do is go, and you just, well, actually,
easy now.